All right, guys, I'm going to kick this off. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for your patience on the little hiatus I had to take for a move, which was a lot of work, and it still is unpacking my empire. But I wouldn't call it an empire, but it feels like it when you move. But it's after 26 years in one place, it does realize, wow, there's a lot to this.
Tell us a little about the move, John. I don't know the details, and 26 years, boy, that's a lot of time and a lot of little corners where you've stuffed things. You have to make sure
Yeah.
you get them all out.
Oh my gosh. I feel like sometimes the stuff it reproduces while you're gone. You come back, wait, I thought I cleared that out. Um, our prior place wasn't that big. It was, reasonable size, but it's amazing. It was very good in storage and so forth, like closets and so forth. But, you know, um, it was, it was a lot of work because we had movers planned. We had good friends who recommended these movers, and they're picky and they were very happy. So we decided to go with it. Um, but I moved a lot of the stuff, the delicate stuff myself. I rented a minivan because I don't. Neither of our cars are really that big. My two-door, Audi coupe is not going to fit a whole lot. Um, but So I rented the price of minivan, which I thought was reasonable money, and I had it for like 4 days. It was a really good decision because, I will say this, they mastered those stow and go seats. You get a flat, you have everything down and flat, you got an entire area. So I was able to basically move all my vintage electronics that way. I moved all my parts, the radios, because I was really worried, how am I going to pack all this stuff up? And and have the movers and get it there safely. And it's daunting when you're packing things up, all the boxes you need, all the wrap and everything else. I said, you know what? This is nutty. Why don't I just do the really delicates myself? And so we moved a lot of other personal things that were really delicate as well. But I did, multiple trips. Unfortunately, it's only 7 miles between where we used to live and where we are now. It's like seven, maybe 7.5 miles. It's not a big run. Um,
Why did you decide to move in the first place?
so basically we decided that we would go to, I guess sort of like one floor living, like the main thing
Uh,
and like
yeah,
our on one floor. So, our
okay.
fireplace is very vertical, so the bedrooms are the top floor, the standard kitchen, living room, and everything else in the main floor. Downstairs is the laundry, the basement, my office sitting off of there. And we thought about long and hard. And we've been looking since August on and off, but not really putting not full force. And we sort of stumbled upon this place, and we really liked it. In fact, we almost didn't buy it because we looked somewhere, we almost settled on a different place. But I'll save all the spare all the details. But suffice to say, it didn't work out because there were some clauses we just didn't like, and we're not going to settle for it. So that was our rationale. We said, you know what? While we are still young and mobile and everything else, I don't want to be doing this, even 5 years, no less 10 years from now. And not that I think I'm, old, but I'm still, hey, when you clear 60, you're like, okay, you have to sort of think about these things. We decided, let's just future proof. So we were lucky we landed actually in a new home. The last one in the development, and it was really it works for us nicely and it meets all those criteria. And like I was telling others, this is as far as I'm concerned, this is my last move. This was enough work that my next move is a pine box 6 feet under. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that makes a lot of sense, John. We set up sort of the same thing. We have a two-story farmhouse here in Vermont, but the first story can do everything we need, and so we're not going to have electric stair climbing thingies on there, and I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, and there was some other secondary things that influenced our decision to go as well. I think that sort of our neighborhood has been changing a bit as well. When we moved there, it was funny. This is a condo. Is that it was a it was one of
Mhm.
those ones where it's a large condo, but there's mostly people downsizing. Well, all those people that downsized were great neighbors, and all they either disappeared to other states, and now they're all becoming starter homes for people. And so the demographics is changing a lot. And we decided maybe it's time to move on to, as well. That sort of is a secondary factor. But, we, believe me, fortunately, it's only 7 miles away. We love Ashland. That's where I've, been living in 26 years. Of course, the Tahlequah clock, but it's a terrific town. We still are, my wife is still heavily involved with the Ashland Community Center doing like helping with classes, like doing like, gardening classes and things like that. And so we'll still be committed to helping out because we think it's a great little community. But if we had our druthers, we would have stayed there, but we just couldn't find what we were looking for. And this popped up. And our new town, the town we used to live in Natick, and now we're just heading back to Natick, funny enough. And that wasn't really in the plan. It just kind of turned out that way. So
Is it a John? Is it a ranch house on one floor?
no, it is a condo, but almost everything's on the main floor. It does have an upstairs, like a guest bedroom and my wife's office is up there. There is a basement that's mostly finished, and I get the office down there. It's the smallest bedroom, but it's fine for me. It's everything I need.
Well, where do you keep the important stuff, John? That's what
There's a
everybody wants to
room
know.
adjacent to it, so I have some stuff behind me. I'll turn my thing here. There's a few of the pieces that are not online at all. They're sitting on shelves, but that's only a few of it. Most everything is sitting in the adjacent room on the floor because I need to get shelves I need to get some other things and I have to order those and they probably won't arrive. I won't probably get the shelves ordered for another week or so. So I am running on bare minimum, but I have a few systems that the picture I sent over email from Bill Babbitt's challenge that is in the living room. It's the only piece I'm allowed in the upper radio. Well, that's true. I also have one in the bedroom. A nice little my little FODAP Model 790 is in the bedroom, but that's operational online. But otherwise, my little daily driver is the only one I use right now. And that's, right here, my little Monty Ward from 1974. That's my turn it on when I listen to the news in the morning when I'm looking to, starting the day's work. If I work from home, listening to the news and whatever for the first half hour, 45 minutes. I'm just going through emails that are not that critical at work. And then when I need to concentrate, off goes the radio. But so
Oh,
I'm
you're still
still
you're still one of those people that works for a living then. Oh, okay.
I do. I am I have reduced my schedule, however, so I'm actually down to I've been sort of like part-time, three very busy 3 days because everything gets concentrated. If someone wants that's part of my time, they schedule a meeting for that time, or I'm trying either doing emails or I'm doing lots of meetings, but that's okay. The day goes by quickly, a little too much, but it gives me some of my life back because, hey, I've been doing this for a long time and there's been a lot of 60-hour work weeks behind that, a lot of wear and tear on that motor, if you will. So it's time to ease up a little bit, especially in light of the fact that, I've had, family member, passings and things like that. And you start wondering, okay, maybe I need to, throttle back a little bit, self-preservation, if you will. And so, so that's why I started to dial back. But I'm still, the things I do like, I like what I'm doing. I still find it far, more an advantage than not, and at some point I'll eventually will, hang it up. But I'm still keeps my hand in the industry and, I like what I'm doing and get to, work with the service providers throughout the world and, still interesting. But so yeah, so it's been quite, you forget how long or what, I think back 26 years ago when I moved from Natick to Ashland, I thought, wow, I look back, that was not a hard move. This one here was a hard move. So a lesson to us all. If you're thinking about moving, do it soon.
Right.
Don't wait.
Well, I've been in my house since October of 1978,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I intend
Almost
to go
50.
out feet first.
I'm with you. It just took me a little bit longer. That's an impressive run there, Rich. I mean, that's you're pushing 50 years.
I cannot imagine moving anything. And I did have a friend associate that he lived a little upstate New York, and he had a beautiful place in Florida. He lived in both places. In essence, he was a snowbird, and he said it was over for him in upstate New York. And he said, and I had been to his home, and it was a big sprawling place, a lot of stuff in it. And he was an engineer for IBM, and he was a very generous fellow.
Sure.
And he gave a lot of stuff, our kind of stuff to us. And but he said, here's the keys, and I just sold the house, and that's it. So whatever's here, they get the house and the stuff, because that's it. I'm not dealing with a move. I've got
Yeah.
everything I need in Florida, and I have no intention of moving furniture. And he meant it. And it was nicely furnished. It was a very comfortable house, and that's how he sold it. So good for
Hey,
him.
sometimes that's the way to do it. It's funny, but it's amazing how much work. Like when I was just packing my office from the last place, I had all my radios on, I have my radios, all my parts, my books. There are a lot, some are radios, a lot, some on cars, all my die cast collection, all that. That was a big job just doing one room. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't want to do this again. It was so much work. Forget about the rest of the house, like packing the kitchen, everything out. It's just like, I can see why people would say, okay, I'm out, just buy new
Did,
stuff and you
did you
show
make any
up.
decisions like, gee, I don't think I need that anymore? Or that
Oh, there
word.
was plenty
Maybe
of
you didn't
those.
even need that word. That word you didn't use.
But there was a fair amount. Fortunately, not, we fortunately keep things in check, fortunately, because maybe our place was not huge. And so, it's just, a little under 2,100 square feet. So it wasn't a huge place. So we did make calls. Like, the general rule was, if it has been used in the past year or two or more, that's it. Unless it's something sentimental value, it's time to, find another home, new owner for it. Um,
No, the other option is just to buy a farm with 11 outbuildings, which is what I did, John. And I thought that was going to be, the end, and cover everything. And I moved all the stuff when I retired from New Jersey up to the farm, started filling up all these outbuildings, and there's going to be no problem at all. And now at 87, 30 below zero is really painful. So Florida beckons during the winter at least, but I still got these outbuildings full of stuff. So I take an entire trailer load of stuff to a free, make it free at each ham fest from lately.
yeah, you sure you want to bring up a semi, bring
Yeah. Oh,
it.
there's an idea, right?
Yeah, well, I know but it kind of does sort of play into the presentation that Adrian Seffert, the dearly departed Adrian, had given, probably about 4 or 5 years ago about, estate planning, and he had a vintage electronics slant to things.
Mm.
Just sort of says, what do you do with this all? And fortunately, my collection is not that. The one thing, the advantage the last place offered was it gave me constraints. I had only limited space, so I had to be very selective to the point where I really, couldn't. Now I have more space, but I still better be very selective, because but I can have a little
The
more wiggle room.
the Adrian presentation convinced me that there's really a pretty simple solution, and that's make sure you go first.
Oh, that's mean.
Right. In fact, that should have been slide one.
Slide
Okay.
one, you go first.
Right. Right.
End of story.
Right. If you don't, okay, here you go.
Yeah,
Um,
my wife said, if you die and leave me with all this stuff, I'll never speak to you again.
oh
But
man.
also, if you go first, whatever they decide to do with it, it may not be what you would like to see happen to it, but you won't be there, so you won't know. So, it's like,
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
maybe
that's
you
the
will,
nice,
maybe you
that's,
will, and that'll be the worst of it too.
yeah,
You won't
that's
be able to
the
say anything.
That's the nice thing about having Nels in our group because he is a gift to people.
yeah,
He'll come in, I guess most people know, but he'll come into a place and completely clean it out, take everything that he thinks he can sell, catalog it, describe it, put it on eBay, ship it, get the money for you, and you get 50%. It's just an amazing deal.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it is.
Except I think he's only 1 year younger than I am, so I don't know.
oh, oh, okay.
Well,
Right.
we're more fortunate in New Jersey Antique Radio Club. We have two younger, actually younger members who are in their 40s, and they're called JD Auction Services, John and Darren.
Ah,
And they will go pretty much anywhere, and they will clean out, and they auction periodically, be it in Kutztown or in the firehouse that Darren belongs to in Jackson, New Jersey, which is, call it Central New Jersey. They'll be having an auction in June, and they're really, thank goodness for them. And I promote them as many times as I can. And I was on the phone with them today and yesterday. And springtime is the time for people to drop dead and houses to be cleared out.
that's
Wow.
wonderful,
Great.
wonderful, Richard.
And
Yeah.
one of them, actually, both of them now are auctioneers, and they can auction. They're licensed to auction in both PA and in Jersey. And John Tominski is also able to, be it the laws of Pennsylvania, he can actually auction off houses. He can sell houses in PA. So he can multitask that way. So they do radio cleanouts, they do house cleanouts, and they do houses go by cleanouts. So they've got their own little industry going now, and we're all very thankful for it.
Well,
And we all promote it, and they're good people, they're good guys.
well, it's an aging population, so it's
Yes, yes,
makes good work for these guys. You
yeah.
know.
I mean, there used to be a time I'd get these phone calls, and I'd be marching out there with my little car and stuffing stuff in, and then bringing it back to a meeting to sell it. And I realized that there's no end game to this. So when they started their little business, I said, "Look, I'm going to promote you as much as I can." And I had some blowback from some club members who say, "Oh, well, you're promoting a private business and all this." So what? You're going to need their services someday. Shut
Yeah.
up.
Well,
Right.
hey, and I mean, there's a lot to be said about trying to, help out the overall industry. I mean, of course, we always try to help each other club wise, but some of the other services, like you said, people need this stuff. It's not like it's going to do anything. It's not like going to affect the club or any way, shape, or form. It's actually a service, and
And
eventually
if you
we're
don't
all.
have this service, guess what? You've got the dumpster service. That's what's going to be
I
making.
know, got junk, and it's like, wow, this is not junk. It's very, your eyes well up in tears, seeing that,
Sure.
like picture that beautiful zenith behind Andy going out to the, landfill. I mean, you just break down and start crying. No.
Well, in the early days of New Jersey Antique Radio Club, we did a few dumpster dives at people's homes, and it was terrible. It was really terrible.
I was at a Silent Key estate a couple of years ago, and family members were carting things to the dumpster. And one family member was a ham, and another one was not. And she's walking to the dumpster with a large box. It turns out to have been a $6,000 Flex radio that was brand new. So we
A
stopped her
flex
very
radio,
quickly.
a modern radio, and still
Yeah,
throwing it out.
we stopped her very quickly and informed her of what she had in her hands. And somebody showed up an hour later and offered 2,500 bucks for it, sight unseen, and they took it.
Wow. And she was $2,500 richer.
Yeah.
I used to love driving around New Jersey on garbage day, and I was driving around one day and I saw a beautiful, I guess it was Macintosh amplifier and tuner sitting on the curb. just waiting for garbage pickup. And I took the thing, and the guy came out, and I thought, oh God, he's gonna do something bad here. And he said, "Hey, you want that? I got a bunch more in here." And sure enough, he had another room full of Macintosh stuff and a whole bunch of Altec Voice of the Theater speakers, and
Wow. Good thing.
unbelievable. And apparently, somebody had just died and left all this stuff, and it was just going out.
Wow. You
So
had your
that was
Tahoe, I
what,
hope.
Tom, what was that? One of the 11 outbuildings now?
No,
Yeah, right.
no, he had to build a 12th now. It's coming. Yeah, you
Well,
gotta
I
have.
have given serious thought to those. I guess you can buy an old 18-wheeler body and start loading stuff in there too. But my wife would be very upset. We
Well, the
have a
Mac stuff ought to be in the living room.
fairly scenic place up here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't look good with a bunch of storage bins.
Well, I have pictures to show you what it would look like because we had a member. I mean, not to ill will of a past member, but he was a great guy. But he had, Bobby, what was it? 13 acres, Pete Grave.
Oh, I never went to Pete's
Oh, you
estate, but
never wanted to see it. Oh
he
man.
had property, and it's kind of a local lore thing. I mean, I really loved the guy because he was just
Yeah.
old school, and he never like he would just always tell you how it was. He would just never sugarcoat anything or anything. He was a man's man, and he actually had this is local lore. I never got to see it, but I've heard it spoken by multiple people. On his property, he had, I forgot what the number was. Someone told me what the number was, but he had multiple, and I say probably at least a dozen old school buses full of radio stuff. Three of them had all R390As in them.
That's where I got mine.
And I missed the guy a lot because I always enjoy talking with him. But in fairness to Pete, I mean, he just was really passionate about. He was also a car guy, so no, you like this guy. He wasn't a Mopar guy, but he was really into Packards.
Ah,
Big
the man
Packard
owns one.
guy.
I love Packards.
And
Yeah. Big Packard Club down here.
It'd be a lot of fun if we had a session where we all talked about some of our finds. I got one that should blow your socks off. It was a house, and in the attic of the house was a spark transmitter guy with just full of really, really early stuff. And the roof collapsed, and nobody ever did anything about that. They built another roof over it. So you get in there and you start pulling off this collapsed roof, and then it's just real old antique radio from left side to the right side. It was just
Wow.
heaven.
Wow.
I'm sure we've all been through this too. The houses that are so packed full of stuff that you have to go through a little goat path through each of the rooms to make it through, and they're packed up to the ceiling.
Well, unfortunately, we do. We have, and
Yeah,
we've been marching through those little cow paths on top of tipped O&As too, and crunching them under our feet.
yeah,
And that's no exaggeration either, because
I
John
know.
Cummer will tell you the same thing.
There was
Uh,
one guy in Connecticut, maybe some of you knew about him, but he was pretty infamous, and he collected erector sets. His kitchen had one of these Ferris wheel
Oh
things up
yeah.
to the ceiling, and every single room in his house was full of radios, and he couldn't sleep in his bedroom anymore. The only place he could sleep was in his bathtub. He had a blanket in his bathtub, which is where he's sleeping, and his bed was covered with radio equipment. His garage was full of radio equipment. There were piles and piles of letters from the health department in his sink in his kitchen trying to evict him, and really sad
Wow.
stuff.
That's
In
crazy.
in Long Island, we have plenty of places I've been to. Rich Lee was at one of the places, right, Rich? The
oh
barn.
yes, oh yes.
Um, there was a barn out in Suffolk County, for example, where probably how do I describe it? Everything was on the second level, And
In the hayloft.
what's that?
In the hayloft.
In the hayloft, and we had to use one of the. Well, how did we get the stuff down, Rich? Maybe you could describe.
Through a baling device. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a the like a 4 5 by 5 piece that would lower.
You used like I call that a block and tackle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Raise and lower that.
I mean, that was one. I mean, right within, believe it or not, a few years ago, within a 3-minute drive of me, I picked up 135 pieces of ham equipment, and it was unbelievable. And it was the guy collected Hallicrafters, National, various other type of things, but he also had a collection. He liked Yaesu, which it's modern, but 135 pieces of ham equipment.
Wow.
And I just
John, tell him about Huntington.
the Huntington place.
That's more interesting.
Yeah, Huntington, Long Island is a North Shore upscale area, and I got a call once to go over to this house. Well, I thought one house. I got there, and it was 10 acres. And 10 acres of property on Long Island is amazing. There were
that's
yeah,
with water view, sound view.
yeah,
really. Whew.
and there was 10 acres, 2 houses, 2 garages, outbuildings. I mean, but anyway, there was 4-foot piles of stuff everywhere, and the guy had passed away. When I first went there, I tell everyone when I go to these houses, don't throw out anything till I come to see what you have, or someone else if you choose. And when I got there the first time, there was a 30-yard dumpster, and it had about a 1 foot or 2 feet of stuff in it already. And I went in there, and I immediately pulled out 2 Macintosh 240 MC240 amplifiers, and the guy had amazing audio equipment. He also had a lot of junk, like he would collect TV sets off the side of the road. He had about 50 1950s 60s TV sets that were garbage. There was, you would keep finding stuff, and
theater amps.
Yeah, it was. He had these huge horn speakers. He had, like example. Here's another, like in one of the houses. I'll call it house number 1. I noticed on my 3rd trip after we cleared stuff, there was a big old Barco lounger in front of a door, and I said, "What's in there?" They go, "A closet." I go, "Anything in there?" They go, "We don't know." And I had to move 3 Kirby vacuum cleaners, the chair, and other shit. And in there was a big speaker. Floor speaker, like 3.5 feet tall by 2 by 2, and on top of it was this little preamplifier, audio, made by Fairchild.
Huh.
All right, who used to make consumer electronics, and mint condition, beautiful thing, and tiny. And anyway, I decided, I tested good. I put it on eBay, and I'll tell you the story to give you an idea. I really didn't know the price. I saw one that went for, and not in as good condition, for like $1,500.
Wow.
Put it on eBay, and I said, "Buy it now of $2,000." And within, I think 15 minutes, someone grabbed it, and I realized I sold it for too little.
Right.
But there was just all kinds of stuff all over the houses. And I still have some of the things here. One of the weird things I picked up there was a Bell Systems reel-to-reel tape recorder. Bell Systems, not the Bell system, but it was a company called Bell Audio or Bell Systems. They had this reel-to-reel that had 2 sets of motors. And what you would do, one set, you would say play a tape, and the other set would record at the same time. And I mean, just weird things like that. The guy
Sound on sound, they used to call it.
what's that?
Sound on sound, SOS, so that you could
Yes. And
listen to an existing tape while adding to it.
Yes.
The extra
Wow.
And
don't forget the classic cars that were melting.
oh, that's another thing. That was unbelievable. What do you have? Like 5 or 6 cars that were melting into the ground.
They were just saying the tires were obviously long, flat, and dissolving.
I think one had a sapling growing through it. I mean, it just, but I've seen a number of these houses on Long Island, and when you think you'll never see another one, something pops up. It's
So speaking of popping up, this is an attic in New Jersey, and the guy who built all this equipment went off to World War I and got shot and killed, and nobody ever opened the door to the attic for something like 40, 45 years. And this is his brother sitting there, and he's not a ham, but he came up and showed us this thing. And talk about blowing your socks off. This is just the kind of thing we're talking about. It just absolutely amazing. John Dilks took one of these transmitters. I imagine you all know John. He drove around in a van and had a museum of radio, and he had one of these transmitters in his van as an example of an early teens vintage radio equipment. But just absolutely, you walk into this thing and you go, it's hard to breathe when you see something like that. You're just
real time
holy.
capsule,
It's time travel. It's like a time capsule. You walk.
Exactly. Nobody had been in there for all that time, and just the most beautiful equipment, all handmade and handmade.
Yeah, but anyway, there's still stuff out there. That's all I could say. And I still get phone calls, and on occasion. And it's, but it's, and, people say, well, how do people know about you, John? And I say, well, I have some websites. I used to advertise in the local penny savers for this stuff. Wanted old radios made before 1950, stereos, turntables, all kinds of stuff. And those disappeared. And, you could even put up a website of your own equipment just to show off. And people may find you and say, they'll Google, they find your website and they call you saying, will you take this junk away?
Yeah, I had a Telegraph website up from the very first days when you could have websites, and the number of people that came into that site with $20,000 Telegraph keys that they didn't know what to do with. And my Enigma Museum site also, people turn up with Enigma machines. You want to buy an Enigma? Oh, yes, I do. Lucky they can't see my face because I can't keep a poker face when I see. You don't want to follow me around the Hamfest because when I see something, my face lights up.
I learned early on, I could see something beautiful and say, example, I was at a house once and an elderly gentleman said, come, I have a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I went over there, and he was a widower, and I sat down with him for a while. We spoke, and I didn't even ask about radios yet. On the kitchen counter, I saw a red plastic radio. Now, let me explain. And I'm not saying a word. And I go, finally, after 20 minutes of talking to him, I said, oh, what's the deal with that radio over there? He goes, oh, I found that in the garage. Oh, no.
Oh, no. John froze.
And I kind of cleaned it up this time. All right. And I forgot I think Emerson. And I said, oh, that's interesting. What else do you have to show me? and he showed me some crap in the basement, and I said, "What do you want for the?" Anyway, it was a $2,700 radio. So it's you got to keep or whatever you want to call it. You can't say, "Whoa, I can't believe this." You just gotta. But
It's
stuff.
really, really hard to keep yourself from completely giving it away, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is hard. I mean, here I am talking for 20 minutes, and it's an expensive radio 10 feet from me. But I'm glad he didn't break while cleaning it.
Yeah, I kind of ran into, timing is everything. It's probably a 5-year period, maybe from like 15 to 20 years ago. So it was not early days of internet, but it was certainly before Facebook and Facebook Marketplace and all that, when Craigslist was the thing. And I guess just based on what year or years it happened to be, and Craigslist being what it was, man, I wouldn't even type in names or brand names like Magnavox or Grundig or Telefunken. I would go to the free button and type radio. And so much stuff was there that, 30 years ago, Uncle Fred brought that back from Germany, and he was in World War II or whatever, blah. I remember I was a little kid and we used to listen to it, and all the original owners of the stuff were either, certainly downsizing or, moving to assisted living or dying off. And the younger members of the family were, they had a little bit of emotional attachment to it, but, were afraid to ever even plug something in or turn it on, and they just wanted it gone because they didn't have room for it either. So I just wound up with way too much stuff that was either, if you saw something that was good that you wanted that was $50 or $75, you could just say, okay, I know what goes on out there. I'm just going back to look at this like every week, and you'd see it go from 75 to 50 to 40 to 20, and then so maybe you jump on it then, or you could even, if you really wanted to be a stickler, eventually some of the stuff would wind up on that free button,
Another quick story is, if you live in a major television market, of about 25 years ago, 27 years ago, I got a phone call from a woman who says, "Hi, I'm calling. My dad has a 1938 television." All right, now, and I've know how to field these calls, and I'd say, "Really? Can you what?" When I asked what brand is it, I'm expecting them to say Sony, and they said, "Well, it says RCA on it." And I go, "Really? Oh, that's interesting. And what is it, the cabinet made of?" "Well," they said, "it's a floor model made of wood." I said, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. And how is it, a real big screen or a little tiny screen?" They go, "Oh, it's a tiny. It's only like 5 inches." And I'm like, "All right, I know. I know enough." And so I go over to the house and I meet the father, and who's got, the oxygen thing. And he's like, he tells me the story of the TV. And he said, and I haven't seen it yet. It's in the basement. And he said, "Yeah, I got a TV. My father bought it when we lived in Queens. We were the only house on the block, and people would come over every night, all the neighbors, and we'd be watching these shows." And, I said, "Oh, great." And then finally I go downstairs with the daughter of the guy and her husband, and there it is, the 1938 TV.
Whoa.
And I had done the RCA Red books have all the information on that TV. And before I went to that house, I didn't know exactly which TV it was, but I did the research, and I could see it had like 3 chassis. It was the real McCoy. And the only problem with it was, of course, someone years ago had put a plant on top of it, and you had
The rings, yeah.
the ring. But I ended up buying it, getting it in the car, and that's one thing. Like, you're not going to find a pre-war TV in Tennessee,
No.
or other places like that. And I did actually years before that did find a tabletop 1938 TV in the New York area, but that's another thing, depending on the market you are and your population density. But this is it's and it's fun to own that stuff for a while, and maybe some I was just looking at I have a Midwest floor model radio downstairs that I recapped 25, 30 years ago. And I don't sell everything. Some stuff I get to keep, but anyway.
I have one little addition to this talk, and I have a small collection of fans. I like fans, brass blade fans and even metal, just steel blade fans, but I like them that work, and I use them. You can't see one on the floor over here. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's a brass blade fan that I restored. But this is a good story, since we're telling stories. And unfortunately, it's not a good picture. Oh, it's not that bad.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me highlight it so we can get a. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay. This is. I'm gonna have to turn it around. Sorry.
Sure.
And it's a circa 1897 Western Electric bipolar 110 volt DC fan. Okay. Now, if you know anything about fans, that's kind of unique.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I got it in a yard sale. Folks just bought a house, and there was a pile of stuff in front of the garage. And I was looking at other stuff, and I happened to see this. I saw the cage of the fan, and I said, and again, it was in a pile of junk. It was not for sale. There was nothing there for sale. And there was a young fella there, and I said, can I buy that? Is that for sale? And he said, no, let me ask my mom. So he went inside, he asked his mom, and I said, ma'am, it's okay if I buy that fan, that old fan there? She says, well, I don't think it works or anything. I said, that's okay. What do you want for it? He says, I don't know, $5. I said, sure, no problem. So at that moment in time, I had no idea what it was. I knew it was I suspected it was a brass blade fan, so I knew it had value, period, okay? I took it home, and I was thinking I should clean it up. So I started cleaning it up. I had spent some time on the base underwater. And I did, again, not knowing really what a bipolar fan was, meaning a bipolar motor. And I did some experimenting with it, and then I did some research, and I joined the Fan Club of America, I think it was called at the time, and I learned a lot about it. But what I learned also was they didn't have anything like this in their collection. So I put out some feelers, and immediately people started saying, well, I'll give you this for it. I'll give you that for it. And it kind of told me, I better hold on to this and do a little more research. So I actually cleaned it up enough to the point where I got it working. And I did realize that it was DC. And I got it working on DC, on a power supply. And so that was I was happy, all right. And then I was thinking, gee, should I restore this? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Now think as a restorer of antique radio. Once you restore it, it's not original ever again. Okay. And what the hell do I know about restoring a fan of this era? And I didn't know it was that old. That comes in with the story. So I I cleaned it up best as well I could, took a lot of pictures, put it on eBay, and I put it up for, I don't know, maybe $75, something like that. And I immediately got a hit for hundreds of dollars. And be it as it may, I had to be away the Saturday where it was going to go off. We're talking now 20 years ago.
Okay.
And the as the days went on, I kept getting hits, and it started, multiples of $100. And then I was getting the, oh, I see that you're a radio collector. Well, I have what Greg has in his background there. I've got a Walton radio. You want to trade? And I said, you know what? No, I don't want to trade. So came to the Saturday that the auction was going to end, and the fan was, that Saturday it was up to $1,200.
Whoa.
So I'm like, hey, I'm happy. $5 goes into 120. I can deal with that. All right. But it was in the late afternoon, evening. Actually, it was like 11 o'clock. In the old days, you put it right at the end of the day of Saturday. And what I did was, I didn't have any internet service, and I had my laptop with me. So I went to the local library. I was away. I went to the local library, and I sat in the parking lot of the library and grabbed their Wi-Fi and started watching eBay and doing the countdown. And by the time I set up there, I was over at $2,200, and I still had like an hour to go.
Whoa.
So it got real quiet, and there was nothing happening. I said, hey, $2,200, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper here. And so, we got into the 10-second countdown, and it was a pileup. It was just one major pileup. And my laptop at the time even couldn't handle it. And I couldn't follow it until there was a final on it. And the final came up to be $4,200.
Wow.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
And
find.
then I learned a lot more about this because the person that won the auction, his handle on eBay was bipolar fan,
Oh.
and he knew everything about it. And we talked. He was in Florida, and we talked, and he was saying there's a Clayson in front of this. You can't see it. That was an enamel Clayson disc, and it had General Electric in it, and that it was incredibly rare, and that he was so happy to actually find one. And he went into a long diatribe about it that I really didn't understand. But I explained that it did work, but it needed a lot of restoration. He said, "Don't even think about it. There's no way this is getting restored. It's going to be cleaned up, and it's going to be appreciated for what it was and the history of it." And all he asked me to do was if I could take the cage off, take the fan blade off, and package it in threes, in three different cartons, and send it down, and he would pay whatever it cost was. He didn't care. And he did that, and he let me know that he got it in very good shape for what it was, and he was a very happy camper. And I said, well, mister, I'm happy that you're happy, and it deserves to be with you and not with me. I like my 1940 General Electric fan that I use every day. I just turn it on and lubricate the bearings, and I'm happy as hell. So that was a nice find. That was one one of my favorite finds.
Yeah, I
That's great.
remember.
Richard, do you know Roger Boutignol, one of our
Sure.
members who really, really collects the earliest of the early fans, and
Yep.
he usually brings a few to some of the shows.
Yeah.
Do you know about about his collection and all?
No, I don't, but I've seen
Okay.
some of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
brought it to K-Town. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Now that there's another there's another win-win in my life of collecting that I can't show you because I don't own it anymore. But if you go to my this Bobby, you're going to get a kick out of this. My YouTube channel. have, I have one. I have one video on my YouTube channel of an E.H. Scott special communication receiver that I found. And I think it'd be easier just if you guys, when you want to, go and see it. Look for Richard Lee and then E.H. Scott, Scott special. And E.H. Scott was quite a special developer of radio and communication radios during World War II. It's from 1940. And it was only at that time that I sold it. In 2012, there was only 12 known to exist, 7 of them known to operate, and one of them I had operated, actually functioned.
Wow.
And, it's a 2 receivers on one chassis with a separate power supply and period speaker, and you can enjoy it on the YouTube. The explanation is better there than what I can tell you right now. But that was the best find.
What year was that from, Rich?
What's that?
What year was that from?
Yeah, it's not that old. It's 1940.
1940. Okay, yeah, it
But
is.
they were custom made for
Yeah.
clients.
For that era, that would make sense. Sure.
Yeah, and this was made for Commander Cruz, the United States Navy. And one of them was also made for, I think I believe it was FDR. I believe one was made for him also.
Wow, that's gonna be worth a ton of money.
Yeah. So
Wow.
let me put it this way. My kids were in college, and that paid for a year's semester for one of my kids.
Not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Not bad. Wow. So, wow, that's some awesome stories.
Oh, wait a minute. I also, I can show you something. Yeah, Tom Pereira gave a kick out of this.
I was going to say, when Rich told the story about the Western Electric fan, there was probably about 40, 45 people in the room, and you heard a collective awe at the end. You know, it's like guys are just like, it was like their jaws are dropping when Rich was saying the number. It was pretty funny.
Just before Richard shows the next thing, this is my ham shack back in 1954. And that thing on the table there is a Hallicrafter's DD1 dual diversity receiver.
Oh, yeah.
And
Where was the speaker, Tom?
I lived in New York City, and this was my shack in 1954, and I had found that thing in QSD. I was buying all this stuff on QSD. They had free ads back then, and it's just the most fantastic old receiver, but it really was totally worthless compared to a Collins. I mean, it was a dual diversity receiver, 2 front ends, entirely separate. You hook it to 2 different antennas, and you picked out which signal was louder. And sure, maybe it gave you a little better reception, but the Collins had it so outclassed that there was no comparison.
Tom, did that come in some special cabinet that
Yes, it did. It came. I didn't get the cabinet. I've seen the cabinet. That just absolutely beautiful piece. I don't think they made more than about 30 of them because they were just absolutely incredibly expensive. If you look carefully, there's also above it a little panel with a bunch of meters
Oh
on it
yeah.
over here. And way over on the left and way over on the right are some of the power supply and the audio amplifier. So it was a neat piece of equipment, but they were so expensive, Hallicrafters never made more than a few of them.
Wow.
I've only seen photographs of that. I don't know anyone who has a real one. I mean,
It's,
other than
I hate to badmouth it, but it really just didn't compare to a Collins because the Collins had that PTO and you could set it on the kilocycle you wanted. This thing, you were lucky if you got close to a megacycle of where you wanted to be.
um, I'm gonna show. I think I have a picture of that Midwest thing I mentioned to you. I picked up. I'm gonna do a screen.
Ah,
Hold on, John.
There's your Scott. Okay, you got a special award for the
People's
Scott.
Choice Award in 2012.
Yeah,
I
wow.
demonstrated it up in AWA that year.
AWA. Yeah, great.
Nice.
I remember that, Rich. I was at the AWA when you got that award.
That's right. It was
It blew everything away in the room, in the concert
yes.
room.
Yeah.
It did.
Sounds like it would. Something of that specialty and that rarity. Oh yeah. I'm sure everyone who saw that and said, okay, I'm out. I lost.
Yeah. I'm gonna share a photo here. Let me see if how do I share? It's not the best photograph, but you'll get the idea. I have a couple of them photographs. It's coming. It's there. I don't know if you could see it.
Ah,
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah,
look
that
at that.
I mean, it's very cool looking. Now, there's a problem with the dial here. I spoke to the guy who has the
Well, it's the Midwest,
Midwest.
isn't it, John?
What's that?
It's the Midwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that design. Wow.
Well, it's the ultimate Art Deco design. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous.
Yeah. Now,
Whoa,
see, it's
wow.
missing a little
Oh,
paint. Now, here, there's supposed to be a little emblem here. And I got this out of a guy's house. He called me. He lived in Queens, I remember, and I had my friend Howie with help me carry it out of the basement. And that's a 16 tube Midwest.
oh my gosh, I don't doubt that. My gosh, look at that. Oh,
And I don't have a picture back of it. It's downstairs. I just haven't done much with it. I did recap it 25, no, actually long, probably 30 years ago. And it's a beautiful radio and had this other special thing where you had had a number of like lamps or bulbs, like a number. It used a red number 47 bulb and also a green one. And apparently, as you tuned in on a station, it would go. The dial would be red, but then when you tuned on a station, the dial would turn green.
ah, like a
Great.
tuning eye, basically.
Colorama, yeah.
And by the way, these four, only one is volume, one is tone, and two other ones just sit there. It's for decoration. That's
That's
not,
okay. It's just gorgeous. That's
Oh.
okay. Is it?
And- it's not the best. There are better Midwests. And also, I was told that the Midwest a lot of times would just add extra tubes that did nothing but light up in order to make their radios more attractive,
Just
compete.
by number.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just an interesting. One of these days, I'll get to it and take a picture of the back. But it was like as 16 tubes in this thing.
Wow.
Anyway, but I just
Five are functional, right?
anyway, but that's one of the things I kept just because I don't know why. I've had more expensive things, but it's a nice radio.
Well, that's the first one I've ever seen. I'd love to see that thing lit up at night. It must
Yeah,
be
oh yeah, the dial is great. I mean, it's a nice radio, and anyway.
Wow.
Would you guys mind if I show something? I have
Of course.
something literally sitting here. I didn't plan on this, so this is purely spur of
It's
the
okay.
moment.
Hey, this seems
Well,
to be,
That's
I
half
think
the
that-
fun of this,
I think that some of you guys might actually appreciate this. I I bought a tube lot with some radios from a guy that was kind of trying to narrow his own personal stuff. And this was buried in one of the boxes of tubes. So this blew me away when I found this. But here's the sticker on the side. I'll get this as close to the camera as you can see.
Mhm.
Oh,
Whoop.
what happened?
Noah's starting to.
Oh, sorry. I was
That's all right.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah.
How do I turn this off?
I can do that for you.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, thanks. There you
Oh
go.
my God, who's that?
Whoa.
All right, here's the box. That's some of the sticker there.
Whoa.
And I
VP1.
guess it started there and went around the side.
Yeah.
So it started out as signal core, and it says tube type VT1.
Okay.
Boy,
So-
look at the padding around that thing.
Well, I'll open up in front of you guys so you can see. I'm going to try to get this apart without destroying the box here. So I always open it from the side. You can see the packing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Let me
go.
pull this out. Now I did some history on this thing. I had to go and poke around, and here is the actual tube. And maybe get this up here so you can read
That
that.
is mint. Look at that base.
Wow. Looks like it rolled out of the showroom.
Now it's kind of hard to read, but I'll just read it to you. This is a brass base, by the way. Made in USA, patent applied for. What this is literally here. This is really the money shot right there. You can see that right there. And what this is literally a WD-11.
Oh,
And it was probably meant to go into a military receiver for World War One.
Yeah.
So that was kind of history. And because I did put an ohm meter to it, and it's a good tube. So I actually have someone interested in this. So I just have this here on my dining room table. I figure you guys get a kick out of it.
Wow, that is cool.
I never, when I found it, I didn't know what it was. I had to actually start from scratch and figure out who it is, what it is. Oh, and it's made by Western Electric, by the way.
Oh,
Too
Well,
bad.
So that's going to add to the value of the two. I
Very
guess
well.
right off the bat there. Everyone wants a high fidelity WD-11, right?
wow.
So,
That's cool. Hey, now, were you gonna share something?
Well, yeah, just it was one of it's not the best shot in the world, but when I saw the plaque with about a E.H. Scott,
Mm.
Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that cluster.
look
This
at all that
piece-
chrome.
this beastie, and of course I can't count the tubes, I can't remember how many, but of course there's a separate chrome chassis that was down in this lower speaker box that had the power supply and the audio amplifier, which was I think push-pull 2A3s and
Wow.
massive audio output transformer. It was just killer, multi-band. I think it had broadcast band and then 4 other short wave bands, and it was free on Craigslist.
oh,
Wow.
So that,
How long ago was that? Did you-
about within the last 10 years.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
It's obviously not in its original, probably really nice cabinet that it came in for what it was back in the day, but that's all right. It still worked fine. It had a phono type input in the back, a couple of binding posts to be able to hook up a turntable. So I hooked up it's probably not visible in this picture, but up on the shelf up here, there's a newer Scott, not an EH Scott, but there was a Scott FM mono tuner that I hooked up to it so I could listen to FM as well. But yeah, just the things that you could stumble onto on Craigslist 15, 20 years ago.
Wow, that's cool.
oof. Now I understand it's only hookers on Craigslist.
That's funny.
Hey, John, I've got something the gang might like to see. This is a
Sure.
different story than the other one. So I live in Westford, Massachusetts, and next door is Chelmsford. And if you look on the web, you can find a website for a place called the Millstream. and it's a water wheel that still operates, and it can generate about 5 kilowatts of power when they turn it on. It's open to the public. And one of the buildings on the property used to be an old record player factory from 50s to the mid 70s. And I was granted privileged access to that because one of my work colleagues is on the board there. And they had resistors and capacitors and other components from when they made record players. They also had quite a few tubes there. And I believe them to be new old stock, or at least never having been used. And what I'm about to show you here is a box of 35 W4s, and there's 100 of them in there.
Okay.
And I consider myself the steward now of trying to find homes for these things so that they'll be used. And I don't really want to give them to a dealer who's going to gouge everybody for them, but if you know anybody who needs a couple of 35 W4s, let me know. I have a few that I can spare. There were some others in that pile too. There was some 35 Z5, some 50, what were they, 50 C5s, I think, probably a couple of 12 SQ7s.
What were they branded, Andy, in bulk like that?
I'm sorry?
What were they branded?
Oh, let me take a look on the box and see. I don't think it says, but let me look on the tube
My
itself.
guess would be GE.
Okay, the tube itself says, it says International Service Master.
Oh, okay.
They're made in Korea, 35W4 / Hotel Yankee 90. So I doubt you can read that, but that's what it is.
Let's see if I can spy. Let me bring that in here. Boom. There you go.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Very nice.
I don't see it focused, but you guys might. But yeah, so there was, these tubes were no use to the folks at the Millstream there. And if you look on their website, look at the Millstream in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, you'll see references to the record players and the hydroelectric plant and all that. And so I have the tubes that were there, and I want to find them homes. I have no way yet to mail them or do eBay or any of that kind of stuff. I was tempted to bring them to Nearfest, but those folks there are pretty cheap. I don't know if they'd be willing to pay for a new old stock tube. But
well, the important thing, Andy, is that you rescue them before they fell into a dumpster or in the garbage or something like that. So that's a good thing that you did, definitely.
Yeah, so there was another box that had maybe 20 more of those tubes, and I grabbed 3 or 4 of this type and 3 or 4 of that type, and I'm not sure that I'll actually need that many, but I said, well, I at least want to have them just in case I have a radio that needs them. But I really do want to find, homes for these where people will use them for their intended purpose.
Right.
And I have no reason to believe that yes, I test them anyway, but they probably all work.
Yeah.
But that was just in the last couple of weeks I ran across that.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I have something I showed at the New Jersey Club Zoom meeting, because we have a Canadian member, and it's a Canadian Marconi console that he was with. I don't know if you remember this, Bob.
I vaguely remember. That's why I'm giggling, because Marconi is like the Canadian RCA brand.
Yeah, it is. Hold on, let me find this share. Let's give it a second to warm up. All right. Now, it's not a great photo, but I mean, I love that. And it came with the original book.
Wow.
36. And see, this is a picture of the back. See this? That is a solid piece of wood. This weighs 60 pounds.
Oh man, I don't doubt that. Oh, that's like a railroad tie, John.
And yeah, and by the way,
Canada, they have lots of wood.
All metal tubes. These are a pair of 6L6s.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It all said, the top was a little messed up, but this is it. It's missing a knob. But I got to do something with the grill cloth, and I bought it locally here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a website just for Canadian Marconi that, and I was able to download the original, service manual for this thing. I never did anything with it yet. Never. Oh, you can see a close up of this, because this really weighed 60 pounds. The speaker was ridiculous, and
Well, most of that's probably the field coil on that thing.
Right.
but it's I somehow expected to see glass tubes in this thing, but it's all metal tubes, and I believe the tubes don't they say RCA or GE Canada on them? Either one. I don't remember, but it's a Marconi brand, and it's an interesting radio. Yeah, there's a close up of it, and don't think I've ever played it. I got this at a place. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back here. Where is it? Yeah, you could see. Yeah, those are so it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 tubes, including a 6E5 I tube.
Right.
But it's a nice. Yeah. Oh, there's a close up of the.
Yeah, it's unusual dial face on that.
Yeah, you can't replace that dial. If you break that glass, it's over. But it's very cool and
very unusual. I mean,
yes, in 1936, and it's just your typical radio you'd find at a yard sale.
Wow, what a find!
Yeah,
the bigger it is, the heavier it is, the cheaper it is.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get it for free, but it was when I saw the dial, I had to buy it, and it was like a half hour from me. Some guy, and I asked the guy, "How did you get this Canadian radio here?" And he apparently, this family had relatives in Ontario, and he went up there on some kind of vacation, and they were going to get rid of it, and the guy drove it back from Canada. It's just a interesting, story. I also like the stories of where stuff came from. Not just, because all of a sudden it, belonged to Uncle Harold or someone brought it from Canada or wherever. But the stories are very cool. And, that's part of the whole thing about this,
Oh, sure. I mean,
Yeah, the lineage is always interesting, but to quote a silent keyер who used to be a club member of the New Jersey club, Joe Crow, N3IBX. My favorite line he used to use that I never forgot was, "The heavier a piece of equipment is, the better it works." You got a nice piece, John.
Thank you.
that's certainly forklift ready.
Yep.
Yep. And Bob, the other quote that Joe Crow used to say is, "I never met a radio I didn't like."
Yes.
Yep.
That's true.
Buy, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've certainly picked up I haven't been on eBay in quite a while, but I picked up a couple of radios on eBay that were simply one family owners. It was played, and the original buyer maybe was like the grandfather at this point or uncle used it regularly. Then they pass away. The family says, "What am I going to do with this thing?" And it's either the job to Noah's earlier point, either you're giving it away on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or you go eBay. And I happened to find something I just really wanted. And the nice thing is, I bought a couple of really nice radios for not crazy money. There were one owner radios, even with the documentation. And you say, that's really cool that I'm the second owner after all those years.
Yeah.
And you bring it up to you brighten it up. You do some what I call it sympathetic restoration. I don't buy basket cases anyway, and they're great. They withstood all the time of usage. You may have just a couple little nicks here or there, and you say, nope, that's part of the history. I just leave it as is, and it just continues. It's really kind of fun if you're lucky to find something like that. Be this, the second owner. So we're all just caretakers anyway. Just goes on somebody else, hopefully not a landfill.
John, may I ask if I could do a share screen?
Of course, you should be good to go.
I just wanted to show you a short video of this fellow that we were just speaking of, Joe Crow. He did this. I think this was a field day long time ago, held at the Princeton RCA, the old RCA building where we used to have our meetings many years ago with the NJRC. So this was a field day from probably 25 years ago. Let me bring it up here. I had it here. Where did it go? Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. Something's
Sure.
going on. What did I do wrong? All right, let me see if I can find this again. Excuse me 1 second while I do something stupid here.
No
Okay,
problem.
now let me try it. Get this back up here. And where is it? For some reason, it's not letting me bring it up. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. I'm not gonna waste time here. I couldn't get the video up.
All right, I have just one last one. The most expensive free thing that I ever came across. If I can find where did my share button go? How do I?
Should be in the lower center there, Noah.
I know it
Disappeared.
Oh, I know what happened.
It moved around on my
Okay, starting to share.
Oh, there's the key.
That's what wandered into the yard about coming up on 2 years ago. And so it adopted us. So it was free, but once you have them, they're not free anymore. You spend lots of money on them, but
Looks like a miniature panther.
yeah, exactly. That's what she looks like. Crazy little thing.
Yeah, cutie.
I think I might have found what I boo-booed on here. Let me try one more time.
All right, good. I was hoping
And
to just
hopefully
waste a
this'll-
moment there for you.
Hopefully
Bob.
this will work. What's going on here? Oh, wait a minute. No, I hit the wrong button again. Where now? It should be up here now. Still is up right there. Never mind.
So, Andy, you're going to be at Nearfest this time?
I will be at Nearfest on Friday looking around for things that I didn't know I had to have. But Saturday is my eldest daughter's 30th birthday, so I won't be there on Saturday.
Okay, and Russ, you're going to be there?
I will Friday also.
Okay, well, I'll see you all there. I'm going to sleep overnight, I guess, on Friday, and
Ah,
I
look
don't
for
know
the,
how you do that.
actually
Look for
on
the-
Thursday.
I'll
look
be
for the
sure to
glowing
go up
while you
and-
didn't make.
I'll be sure to
Actually-
go up and say hello.
Yeah, good.
Hey, Tom, did you make the first because we missed a Zoom meeting? Did you make the first flea at MIT on the 19th?
Yes, I did. I took some pictures. I'm not even sure it's worth showing them because there wasn't much there. There was a lot of about 50-50 computer equipment and musical instruments. A lot of audio guys showed up, but it was very cold and it was sort of thinking about raining. That may have kept people away, but there was a pretty good turnout.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, I mean, it'll only get better as the weather warms up too. But
Yeah.
but actually, it just begs just since we're here, we sort of I'll just throw out a couple of announcements since we were sort of talking about Nearfest. Is that coming around the corner? I think this guess is this Saturday, the April 26th is the Eastern Connecticut Amateur Radio Association Amateur Radio Flea Market. Boy, that's a handful. Eastern Connecticut Amateur Radio Association Radio Flea Market in Thompson, Connecticut. I think that there was some question whether that was still happening, but I think it still is on. And of course, Nearfest, May 1st to 2nd.
Yep.
Nearfest 39, I think.
Hmm.
And New Boston, New Hampshire. I know you
Yeah.
guys are pretty
Yeah,
excited,
really,
warming up your
really.
hands, ready to.
Really hard to find. New Boston is like you have to find it on the right size map.
And then on May 3rd, on that Sunday, there's a Music Expo's vinyl record show in Hampshire from 10 to 3. So there is a few things going on, but there was quite a batch of things going on in April between the two Zoom meetings. One we would have had, we had, there was a Seacoast Amateur Radio Flea back in the 11th, and then of course the Vintage Radio and Communications Museum of Connecticut had their second swap meet of the year. So there was a bunch of things going on that I unfortunately didn't get a chance to announce, but hopefully people made. But yeah.
Never understood the psychology of Nearfest. They start and pretty much end on Friday rather than on Saturday. There's moderate number of people left over on Saturday, but the main show is on Friday, and that just doesn't make sense to me because there are people who work.
Yeah.
Well, that
Like,
suffers the same way at Kutztown in Pennsylvania
Oh,
too.
okay.
It's it is a Friday show. No matter how much they want to try out to make it a Friday Saturday show, and it just dwindles away on Saturdays.
By,
But for
by
the
the
same
way,
reason that why the civilians that actually work for a living, thank goodness for them that they come and they're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Tom, when I was working, I used to use the Friday Nearfest as an excuse to take a mental health day from work.
Very good.
well, that's
Very
what they're really
good.
counting. The real diehards will be there. That's probably they're thinking. The real diehards
Yeah.
are there anyway.
But interestingly enough, the same uh, problem is found in Germany at the Friedrichshafen Hamfest. Friedrichshafen Hamfest is sort of like Europe's Dayton, and it's an immense hamfest, but it's totally dead on Sunday. It slows down on Saturday, and it's real big on Friday.
Yeah, that's well, I guess there is something to be said about it. I know that I would take. I mean, I know that big events that I wanted to go to would happen to be on a Friday. I would find a way to take a day off.
Yeah, right.
I would make it work. So I guess that's what they sort of assume. Plus, I mean, truth be told, our hobby tends to be on people that focus on people that probably are slowing down in work. That's not universally true, but they probably say, well, it's probably doesn't matter greatly. But that's the reality of things. But cool. Well, geez, we still have 30 minutes. I can throw a few photos up.
Can I show one other thing?
Yeah,
No,
sure.
battery set.
This has turned out. This is taking a life of its own. This
Let's
meeting.
look at a battery set.
Okay.
Which I'm sure everyone has one of these laying around. Hold on. I showed this on the New Jersey meet.
Ooh.
All right,
Wow.
let me explain. The history of this thing. I have let me see, some photos to show of it. This is a 1925 home entertainment unit. This side is a Sonora turntable, wind up. This side, it says Sonora on it, but it's actually an RCA Model 9 radio. And I'll get a close up here of the tubes. Oh, that's the front of it. It has this is where the battery box goes, and that's the, for the sound. There's a drawer, record storage. See, it says Sonora on this. This is a wood board with parts on it. RCA called the Radiola 9. And the others, but what happened when RCA would sell this to anyone who wanted one, like Sonora, or there's some other companies, and they could put their own name on it and put it in the phonograph, so you could have a phono radio. And that's not a good photo, but it says supplied to Sonora by RCA. This is the back of it, and you could see up here, it says Radiola 9. Let me see if I have yeah. It's a Radiola 9 from 1925. Takes and this is the metal battery box.
Oh, geez.
And here's the wiring diagram, and it actually has one of those. I forgot if that's a 1.5 volt battery in there. but that's a close up of the diagram. And what's interesting,
Wow.
let me explain. The tubes, I think 3 of the 5 tubes said Klein's on it as the place to get the tubes. And look at this, and the battery box also said Klein's.
Wow.
And remember,
Love it.
this thing is now 101 years old.
Wow.
And this is an ad from 1924 talking about this. And let me see the price on it. They showed the smaller version and my version. Mine retailed for $475.
Wow.
Now you could have gotten a car. I don't know who bought these things, who had the money, and the smaller version was $225. And this is accessories, I guess the pickup, which you could run through the radio or something. Here's an ad. This came out of the Alan Douglas books, showing an ad for this thing. Again. Anyway, so I think this is all the same. Anyway, I just thought I'd show it because it's such a weird thing, but I thought it, was a pretty cool set. And
It is. There's some beautiful shit with all that labels and so forth. That's awesome.
One last thing about this set. I bought it in Queens, New York in 1980 from a guy who called me up and he said, "Hi, I'm selling this radio console." And I'm thinking, all right, another Magnavox,
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, and it has a wind-up phonograph." And I said, "Oh, let me come over and see what you have."
Mhm.
And this is what he had, and I don't know where he got it from. And so I had heard at the time that John Terry wanted a Radio Lanine radio. So I sold it to John Terry.
Ah.
All right, in 1980. And so whenever I went, and in fact, this photograph is of it in John Terry's house, in his barn that he had.
Right.
And, so John had it, and every time I would go see him or say hello, I would remark how this is the centerpiece of his collection, and he would laugh, and, because it clearly isn't. It has, anyway, so then John Terry, about, I guess it was 10 years ago, had his auctions where he sold everything.
Yep.
And this, 2 of them, and this radio, my radio, I call it, he was selling. And in his catalog, auction catalog, he had that big auction with the tent. He listed it saying worth between $400 and $1,500. Now I'll be honest, I paid about $150 for it.
Okay.
John Terry paid $1,000.
Okay.
Because he had unlimited money, really. And so fine, so I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I could take this home with me back to New York? And so they started the auction, and the auctioneer started at, do I hear 400? Do I hear 400? No one was interested because what was going against it, it was a console, and it wasn't a real rare. If it was a radio, if that Radio 9 was in a radio cabinet or something, it would have been worth some money. But so no one bid 400. Then the auctioneer said, "Do I hear 200?" No one said a word. No one put their hand up. Then it was, "Do I hear 100?" No one said a word.
Oh my God.
All right. Then the auctioneer, and I knew how the auctioneer was, to keep cutting it in half, said $50, and I raised my number, and I ended up buying it for $50.
Wow, that's not bad.
The worst part is there was a lot of people at this auction, and 2 rows behind me was John Terry and his wife.
Ah.
All right. Now, when I stood up to walk away, and I saw John Terry there, he gave me a very dirty look. Yeah. And later on, he said, "John, why didn't you start bidding at 100? I go, "Because I thought other people would." I didn't think I'd get it for $50. Anyway, so it came back to New York with me after John had it for whatever, 35 years or something. Anyway, that's the story of this. Where this came from Queens, New York to Massachusetts, back to Long Island.
That's
John, what were the 5 tubes that went into that radio?
199s.
Oh, not well, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
But,
It was.
but the story that John just told you is a sad fact of life that we deal with now.
yeah.
Yeah, John Terry's auctions, he had battery sets that sold for $18,000. And whereas this is a beautiful thing, no one wants it. Again, battery set, console, and people aren't, buying this kind of thing anymore. And
those collectors don't exist anymore.
yeah. And,
Go ahead.
over the years, I've had like nice looking console radios sitting in my garage. And last year I gave away 5 of them. I put them in front of my house. Just regular, Philcos, not Midwests, but just regular ones that looked nice. No one wanted them. I couldn't give them. I gave them away, and as Rich says, that's the thing we're facing right now. No one wants radios.
Yeah, consoles are always
True in a lot of areas. I spent some time with John Katz at the MIT market. I don't know whether you know him, but he is a major, major, major telephone collector. And he said that his collection is in the what did he say? Tens of millions of dollars worth of telephones. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but he's been talking about it. John, I think one of the things people might enjoy, John Terry has just come out with a new book, and if it's
he did.
okay, I'll show a few pages of his new book.
Yeah.
It's not directly what we're all talking about, but I think you might enjoy just a quick tour through it. It is a book on quack medical devices.
Yes,
Oh, cool.
I actually have a museum of quack medical devices that I've had on the internet for about maybe 30 or 40 years. And so he asked me to write a little something for the back of his book. And I'll show you. This is the cover of the book, 97 items. And this is the back, and he has various people saying what a great book it is. And I said, what a great book it is. Anyway, there's John with one of his quack medical devices. And this is a static electricity machine. I think
wow.
I'll just show you through a few of the pages in here. It's a beautiful book. John always makes incredibly lovely books when he writes them. I
love it. The quack.
The quack medical guy who is going to treat you, followed by a quacking duck.
Well, I know, Tom. That looks suspiciously like you. Are you walking around practicing on people?
Anyway, he had a lot of beautiful, beautiful equipment, and this is in addition to the stuff that we saw at the auction. He had a whole collection of quack medical devices. And I don't think he put any of them up for sale at the auction. I think he was sort of saving them for this book, and he figured maybe he'd sell them after he published the book. But these are some of the static electricity machines. This is one of his favorites, and this is a picture of a woman getting a medical treatment for virtually any ill that she might have. It looks like he's got her hair standing up on end real well there.
Wow. Yeah, I say so. Wow, that's cool.
And this guy's obviously about to be treated with another static electricity. Look at that chain hanging down to his feet. It looks like he's in an electric chair about to be electrocuted. And
Didn't they know about rubbing a balloon on your head at this point in time, or what?
I don't think so. I didn't see any balloons in his collection, but these are battery devices and little portable ones for zapping. Basically, they all do the same thing. They give you a tingling, zapping feeling from a spark coil, maybe 10 or 20,000 volts at very, very low current. And interestingly enough, I have a YouTube out on this, but these devices were thought of as major quacks, and the people who use them, the so-called doctors, claimed they could cure virtually anything, and they lost favor, and people just dumped them. You can find them at most hamfests for $5 or so. People who know that they're just pieces of junk, quack medical equipment, but what has happened, interestingly enough, is that mainstream medicine has started using some of the technology of these quack medical devices. Here's a magneto one that you crank to get voltage, and you can actually walk into a CVS pharmacy even today, and you can buy something called a rocket medical curing device. And all it is one of these devices, and you pay about $30 in it, and you can put it on different parts of your body and zap it, and it has a big list of the things you can cure. And it is basically tuning into what is now called TENS, trans neural stimulation, and it's used widely for treating back pain. So these quack medical devices had some application. This is one of the earliest ones I've ever seen. I think this came from a collection of a guy in New York City, and a bunch of diathermy devices, which are basically high frequency, high voltage devices that run RF radio frequency energy through the patient and hope that it doesn't kill them. And he's got some other pictures. I love this guy treating himself with a zapper. Right.
Staying in a pool of water, you know.
Right. And this is a beauty. This is John.
Oh yeah,
This is
I've
one
seen
of his
this picture.
favorite things. This is a shoe size measuring device. It has an X-ray tube in it. You go into a shoe store and you put your kid's feet in there, and it makes a picture of the kid's feet and shows whether the kid is fitting in his sneakers well or not.
Wow.
The kid's getting a big dose of X-rays that he sure as heck doesn't need.
Wow.
And there are various kinds of bracelets and belts that will cure this and that and the other thing. The violet ray tubes that are basically gas-filled tubes that have a high voltage electrical generator at one end, and you run them over different parts of your body. The setup in the top is the most elaborate one that I've ever seen. It has tubes of every imaginable shape to fit every imaginable part of your body. And
Wow.
lots of other zapping devices. There's a couple of doctors curing somebody, and some of his other devices. This one's really neat. Did you know that Crosley made a Zervac?
Zervac.
Good old Crosley. He made everything from airplanes to radios. Just incredible. And this is a hair growing device. And you put it on your head. You can see this down here, and it has a suction pipe, and it sucks hair out of your head and makes your hair grow longer.
Yeah, you can see it works, you know.
Yeah.
You have one of those too, huh?
Yeah,
I
can't
begin to think it does the reverse.
Yeah,
You have a full head of
keep
hair.
the hair out of my eyes, you know.
These are some of John's books, and he has a number of pages of fun books. I like this one up top, Collier's Expose, Patent Medicine Fraud. Yeah,
Oh,
a lot of good
it's a
stuff in
great
there.
book.
And then
Yeah,
he had a
please.
whole collection of Geisler tubes. Geisler tubes are gas-filled tubes with some of the early ones had little electric motors on them and they would spin around. And when you put a voltage on these things, they light up. And he used a spark coil to do it. Here are some pictures of his various tubes lighted up. Some of them are X-ray tubes. Some of them just make pretty designs. And that's his book. So thought you'd just enjoy a quick tour through it. He would love to sell you one.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a nice
Speaking
little,
speaking of stuff to be sold to people who don't know any better, let me see if I can. Let me think here. How do I
Yeah.
want to go?
Also, that book, those photographs are in color, and the paper quality is very nice. It's a very well done book, and
Sorry.
he has it for $29.95.
that's reasonable.
And if you went to his website, you could buy it or contact him, and he'll be very glad to sell them to you.
I think he's got a table at Spring Brookline. So any of you guys showing up at Spring Brookline wanting your own copy, I'm sure he would be more than happy because I'm sure he'll have copies of that and his other book that he put out more, a year ago or so there.
On the battery sets, yes, that's a good book.
Exactly. So
I actually took the liberty of inviting him into our meeting tonight, but he didn't come. He did come to an AWA meeting that I'm a member of and talked about his book and really wants people to buy them.
yeah, well, I mean, it looks like thanks for that actually little tour, Tom, because it would be just fun to look at the crazy ideas people came up with, forget about, whatever rationale or thinking whatever they thought would actually benefit from it. It's just fun to see these contraptions that are one step away from we define like, the Frankenstein labs.
So if you get a chance, look at my YouTube channel, and I have a video called "How Quack Medical Devices Led the Way to Today's Medical Miracles," and it goes all the way from much weirder stuff than he was showing up to some really serious stuff. And one of the things in my page that not many people know about is the Russian sleep machine. And there are electrodes that you put on people's head, and you can actually put a person to sleep electrically. And that's one of the devices that isn't a quack device, actually. It is used widely in Russia for post-operative sleep when people are having trouble getting to sleep after an operation. And I was actually given one of these machines to test in my laboratory at Columbia to see whether it would be acceptable for the Food and Drug Administration. And we actually put a lot of people to sleep with this thing, and it really, really worked. It's amazing. Not only does it put you to sleep electrically, but it produces a kind of sleep that compresses an 8-hour night sleep down to 2 hours. Yeah. At the end of 2 hours of stimulation, you feel all great and ready to go. So it's fascinating stuff.
Wow, cool. That's really neat.
Noah, you had something?
Well, it was kind of along the lines of, I don't know if I'm going to be able to share it, but it was kind of along the lines of what you were showing before. If I could try to do a share on it, I don't know if it's going to let me here. Let me see. I may have shown this before, but not just helping you out with issues with your body, but here's a spray-on tool for getting rid of wheel ants.
Wheel ants.
Wheel ants. Wheels can be thrown out of balance by a buildup of wheel ants. So,
well, those wire wheels probably could
protect your car's smooth ride with weekly applications of automotive-grade insecticide.
I've never that's crazy. I was thinking, well, is it possible you could pick up some tar from the roads freshly thing and you can stick to your wire wheels?
It could be a buildup of wheel ants.
I love it. That's great.
I haven't seen this in 10 years. This is a hoot.
They're going to change the winter and the summer air at the same time, right?
Exactly.
That's crazy. That's funny. Wow.
There's a sucker born every minute. Is that what the P.T. Barnum used to
Second part every day. Yeah. Yep. Oh boy, that was really cool. Well, geez, we have managed to burn the entire meeting just for these fun stories,
Yeah, even saw a
which was
few
great.
radios.
Which was great. Actually, I really, this was completely unplanned given the fact that we had a different agenda in mind, but you know what, it was fun and it just kind of was a nice discussion of all these fun stories that we all, many of us have. And I'm sure there's lots of other ones that we forgot to bring up that we could bring up again in another time. But in some respects, well, I mean, hey, we still have 10 minutes, but I this probably might be a good point to close the meeting or
Yeah.
say anything else because we had a fun discussion. It was lots of fun stories. Really enjoyed it, and well, funny enough, next meeting will be a round robin anyway, so we'll get back on track, and hopefully some of you guys who go to Nearfest can share pictures and stories of what went on there. So I would love to hear, especially what you may come away with. Of course, Tom, you'll have your Tahoe, so you'll be able to fill it with extra things, so you can get building 12 up and going on your property. And
8 foot trailer full of $1 items, free after 10 o'clock.
so the hope is you go away with an empty trailer.
Hopefully.
Yeah, just don't put up any signs that say like $1 table because you'll get some wise ass like me coming up and say, "Excuse me, could you move all the junk off the top of this so I can keep that $1 table?"
Trailer.
On the table. Yeah. And that's where the medical crack device comes into play.
Yeah, right.
Get away. Ah! Exactly. But well, guys, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I guess I'll do is I'll let you guys go, and expect we'll be back at our normal schedule. So I imagine the next meeting will be the round robin and around May 8th or something like that, if memory serves. And looking forward to the Nearfest stories and anything else going on. And meanwhile, wish you guys a good 2 weeks. The weather is improving, so it means more fun outdoors and maybe less working on your radios because you're probably getting your spring cleaning started up and going. Me, I'm still unpacking. So
I was a little bit late for tonight's meeting because it was just like so nice outside. I kind of spaced it out. I was like, oh, geez, I got to get inside.
yeah, no, we had some nice weather here, and then it's kind of gone a bit, for the worst. Not bad, not awful. It's just, high 40s and chilly. So, I mean, I'll take it. It's not.
Wish me luck tomorrow because my son-in-law and I are driving up to the Texas Motor Speedway for the PATE, the annual spring PATE swap meet, which will have supposedly mostly automotive, but people bring all kinds of stuff. They sneak in other things besides their car parts, but it's well over 1,000 vendor spaces. So
wow.
Get up there early and see.
Going up in the Chrysler?
No, it's my birthday's coming up, so we're driving up in his truck. He's doing the driving, but he's got a nice like quad cab dually pickup truck, so there's plenty of room in the back of it.
And plenty of room to take stuff home. Haha.
Yeah, right there. Well, it's even got lots of towing capacity if we go really stupid.
Oh, right.
Just watch out for those one lung engines.
Exactly.
No, they almost bought that one from me at the Stowe Car Show.
I still haven't pulled the trigger on any of them.
That's funny. This is a quick side note. I did stumble upon, I have a friend who lives in South Lake, Texas, and that's not very far away from the Texas Motor Speedway. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably about a 20-minute drive. At any rate, I had some time to kill when I was visiting him because he had to work, so I drove over there. I stumbled upon a car swap meet, so I said, score, something to do. So I actually got the chance to see the bit of the track because you could just drive in and wander about. It was fun, actually. It's also a big track. Was it like a mile and a half, 2 miles?
Mile and a half, yeah, it's monstrous.
Yeah, it's a good size track. But anyway, it was cool. And I have been there. But anyway, gentlemen,
all right.
Thank
you very much.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And have fun at your shows at the Nearfest. I doubt I can make it. There's always a small chance, but I don't know what I've got to deal with it, but I expect to have to prioritize local things. At any rate, See you around, guys.
Everybody.
Good night, guys. Have a
Night.
good one.
Have a good one. Bye now.